Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Bell with Dr. Javier Montañez, your superintendent here in the Province Public Schools. I'm so excited to have two great individuals, two leaders, two principals of our district. We have Mr. Barr, principal of Classical High School. We also have Miss Torres, principal of the Reservoir Elementary School. We have two different viewpoints here. We have the students when they first coming in and when the students are ready to go out. So I want to say thank you for coming and sharing this time with us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having me, Super. Appreciate it.
You may or may not know that tomorrow we're going to be celebrating Principal Appreciation Day. So if you see your principal, make sure you give them a hug, give them a high five, let them know how important they are to you. We have many awesome principals throughout the district, but we just have the option and the opportunity to spend this morning with two of our greatest principals. And yes, that's right. I'm gonna fluff your feathers over here, right?
I'll take it.
But also we also think about pretty much we're one of the longest standing principals in Providence, and I have a few questions for the both of you. I know that principals, for students, we look at students. We have many hats that we wear as principals, right? For students, you can be their greatest cheerleaders, or we can be the disciplinary, we can be their teachers, and sometimes we have to at all times be the advocates. But also, for our school teachers or our educators, we're also making sure that you wear many hats there as well, because not only do you mentor them, you lead them, you advise them, and you support everything that they do in the building. So, I mean, it's not easy being a principal, and especially a principal in the 21st century, because it's not the principals of before. Now we educational leaders, we have to make sure that we're well immersed in what's happening in the school, what's being taught in the school, how it's being taught, and what kind of supports that they need. Mr. Barr.
Yes, sir.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Share your journey in PPSD. How long have you been in PPSD? What kind of jobs you held in PPSD? And where are you now?
Well, that's a great question. Thank you for that. So I started a long time ago, back in the late 80s.
Yes, the 80s existed.
But I substitute taught in Providence for a couple of years. And then we had a massive retirement one year, and they needed teachers in August, and I ran into a guy named Tom Mezzanotti, who was the principal of Classical,
yes.
And he and I hit it off, and he put me on for the year, and that was 1991. And then through consolidation, some other things, I did a little bit of time at middle school, and then I came back to Classical as a teacher, social studies teacher. And then from there, I went to department head, and I did leave the district for a couple of years. I went to Cranston East for a couple of years as assistant principal, and then a retirement affected the principalship at Classical, and I applied, and here I am today, sir.
Awesome. Yeah. No, that's great. Sometimes an individual chooses a career, and sometimes the career chooses the individual. And sometimes we're going in with a mindset of, I'm going to try this out. I'm going to do it for a little time. And next thing you know, we're a few years or a couple of decades in doing this work. So that's interesting. Miss Torres, tell me a little bit about your story.
I think I'm in that second group.
Which group is that?
The second group. I never saw myself as an educator.
Yes.
Education is my second career. I studied economics.
Wow.
Yes. So I graduated with a bachelor's in economics, then met a teacher in Providence, and that was it.
And that was it. We brought you in. It gets into our blood. It gets into our blood, right?
I was reeled in. So I started reading about education, and I just fell in love with education. I started then my journey at PPSD. I said, let me try this. So I went as a teacher assistant. When Gilbert Stewart was an elementary school.
Wow.
I started as a teacher assistant at Gilbert Stewart. Then I went and obtained a master's in education and started teaching in the district. And I've been in the district for 26 years already.
26.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Wow.
26 years.
We have a couple of decades between all of us. Huh?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure we do. I think I have 3 of them under my belt right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you do know this, but when I was a principal at Levington Duland, which and we used to always laugh about it. We was always in competition with whether I'll do great one year in reading, they'll do great in math, and we'll do great in attendance. So it was always a friendly competition
It is a
between
friendly
us.
competition.
So, but it always kept us on our toes to make sure that, hey, we got to, coming back and telling the students, hey, I heard that the students at Reservoir are doing better than us in this area. We need to, and we ramp it up. And thank you for all those years of those friendly
Reservoir is a
competitions.
very special place.
Yes, it is. I have a question for the both of you. What is a typical day in your building? What's a typical day in your life as principal?
Well, that's the beauty of the job, is that you never know what you're going to face. You may face things from, a heating issue in the middle of winter that you have to address right away because you have 1,000 people coming in an hour. Or it could be something simple like making sure like everybody has a good, safe parking spot in the snow. And things like just making sure that there's a smooth transition when students arrive. I try to really get out there right in front of the building and say good morning to as many kids as I can. And then I start morning announcements to truly formally open the school. And thank goodness we get off every day at about 8 o'clock or so. But it really is an exciting job in many ways. I can't think of doing anything else than being principal of classical. But truly, I think part of the allure of the job is that it's new challenges. And even though I've been at it for several years, it's always new. I'm always learning every day. And everything from a very, an academic issue or maybe a family issue or something to that nature. But you got to really love it, and you have to be passionate about it. This isn't the type of job for folks that just think they're going to clock in and clock out. It's a job. No, it's not. It's to your point. It's more of a calling, and it's a real it's a serious job. But man, I can't. And I'm sure both of you feel the same way. I couldn't imagine doing another thing.
That's correct.
Mr.
That's
Torres,
correct.
would you like to add to
correct.
that?
Of course. I think at Reservoir, we start our day with a morning meeting. So the whole school is at the same place, so we can all start at the same in the same tone. So that sets the tone of the day. I also try to welcome all my students. I know all my students by name. So you go back to Reservoir, and I'm going to know who you are. I'm going to know your parents. So that makes it a very special place. The good thing about our position today is that before leaders of a school were looked at as operations, we're not that anymore. We're everything. So 2 days are not the same, like Mr. Barr just said. So, but it is invigorating.
Yes, and that's when I go back to the many hats that we wear,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because for students, we can be their father, their grandfather, the cheerleader, the advocate.
Yeah.
They know that they're there, and if you make that connection with our students,
And teachers, too.
Oh yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
I'm kind of Papa Bear to a lot of young people now. I'm like, that's it. Some of my students are as old as my own children.
Exactly.
So it's, I'm very cognizant of the students, the whole community. You really got to make sure that you keep your eye on the ball with the whole community. And your teachers sometimes get left out, and you really, you got to stop yourself and say, okay, we're in a difficult time right now. I got to make sure that I keep an ear to the staff as well.
Absolutely, I think it's really important because that's a well-rounded environment, right? When we say safe, learning, caring environment, it's not only for our students; it's also for our teachers and staff, right? Because it's teachers, staff, our clerical. I mean, think about it. If, from our custodians all the way up, we have to make sure that we take care of everyone. Because if we're not good enough to take care of ourselves, then we can't take care of them. But at the same time, we still have to make sure that we keep everyone involved, because then we also bring in the community. We bring in our parents.
That's right.
Right? We also have to make sure that we're cognizant of that as well.
Yeah.
We are the heart of the community.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
We are the
you took the
heart.
words right. You're the heart of your community.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, and everything that is around us. So if we have a strong, caring, collaborative, a community of high expectations,
That's right.
then everything around us, it's the same. So
It's
we're
lifted.
elevating.
That's right.
So I think that's what makes us special in Providence to all the leaders I cannot speak enough about all my colleagues.
Oh, absolutely.
If I have a problem, I'll call a colleague, and they will do whatever they can do to help me and support me.
And I think that's something that I've always said in our meetings, right? I wanted to change. There was at one time there was a concept or an idea that it was of us against them. It was like the building administrators versus central office administrators. And over the last 5 years, I've been trying to break that down and make sure that you felt welcome enough, safe enough, comfortable enough to make sure that you use us as a supportive tool in order for you to do the best work that you can. I want to make sure that we're doing the best we can to support you as well, right? Because it's a team, and I've always told you, I can't do this alone. I'm only as good as the people around me, and the people around me are you and many like you that I am so very thankful for all our principals out there. I really appreciate you. I care. I understand. I hear. I listen, and I try to do the best I can to make sure that you have what you need to be successful. So that being said, let me bring you back. I want you to think about maybe, I know there's some many stories, but let me bring you back and think about one story in your life as a principal that you're so proud of.
I think that is a compilation of many stories, because the success of one child makes it over. It's not just one, it's all of them. When you see that light bulb going on,
Oh, I know that.
that I go home and it's like, I just reflect on that. When I see a child being passionate about sharing what they have learned, that's a success moment.
Yes.
When I see a teacher eager to shape and better their practice, his or her practice, it makes me feel, oh, I'm doing a good job. So that's why I think it's important for us it's not like that big banner. It's just a compilation of all the things that go on in every day in our schools. When we are sitting in a PLC with a group of teachers and they're open, they have the forum and the space and the safety to say, you know what, Ms. Torres, I want to try this because, and then start telling me this is the data, this is why I'm doing this, the research behind it. That's a proud moment, because that's what shows growth, not just for our teachers, but for our students. So we will see that in the outcomes in our students' outcome. So I think as leaders, every day is just like a compilation of, experiences that just shape who we are. And we have bad days, but just
You
knowing.
mean somebody's not always cheering balloons and happiness?
No, we have bad days, but we know that the next day is going to be better.
Absolutely.
And that's why we come back. So it's every day's a new day, and a day of happiness, of successes, growth. So that's what makes us special, I think.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Would you like to add anything?
Sure. I was just going to say, I think that it might be some of the smaller things that you appreciate, because we move budgets and we move programs and we move sporting events and we do a lot of movement. So we're always in motion. I think one of the things that struck me as you asked the question was one time I was shopping, and we're all out in the community. We're all very visible. Mm-hmm. And a student was shopping with his mother down in Garden City, and I could overhear. She goes, "What are you so nervous all of a sudden?" He goes, that's my principal over there." She says, "But he's with his wife. He's shopping, Mm-hmm. And I think when he said my principal, I think it really hit me that it wasn't just the principal is over there. That's my principal. So I walked away going like, wow, this is really powerful for students to say my principal. I don't know, I just felt that was something that hit me, and I kind of really thought about that. And that's one of the stories that I came to work the next day saying, wow, there's a real lot of investment here by our students and a lot of care.
And it's funny that you say that, because that happens to me a couple of times, when I'm in the Price Right or in the dollar store somewhere,
Sure.
and the students come by and they see me, they know I'm in the community, but they see me and they go, like, what are you doing in here? This is,
Right.
I said, I'm buying food just like you buy food. I
Right.
buy it in the same place.
Right.
So it's funny to hear that, and sometimes they run up to you when you don't even know.
Yeah.
You're not even expecting and get a hug from behind. It's like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah.
So that leads to my next question is like, in the elementary, right? You do K-5. When it goes to K-5, how do you know when you're successful? And then the second part of the question is, after they move on from K-5, do you ever get to see any of your kids?
Oh, they come back. They come back. I think being in a small community like Reservoir, let's start with the end of that question. Every afternoon, I have a group of students that come to the backyard and they start shooting balls.
Okay.
So when I get to go home late at night, they're there just, and then I get to ask them, how are you doing? Are you still making us proud?
Right.
Are you still, the principles that we taught you here? Is that what's guiding you? And they do, and they share, and they can also share. Oh, this subject, I didn't do this well this semester, but I'm doing extra work, or they're able to share with us what they're doing,
What's
how
going
they're
on in their lives.
feeling.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's like home to them.
It is.
They're going home.
It is.
So
It is.
it's a difference when you're in K-5 and moving on to 6, they come back, right? So now that leads to you, Mr. Barr.
Yes.
I have a question. You have students, right? They come in 9th grade.
Yes.
You see them all the way to 12.
We do.
You're excited to all the growth they're doing, but then they leave. Then they go off to do exciting things, either a 4-year college or career path, whatever it is that they choose to do, right? One or the other. How do you stay connected to them? How do you find out if they're doing well? Do they come back?
Yeah, that's a great question. Don't forget, my first students are now in their mid-50s. So let's put that in perspective. So they're as gray as I am sometimes. But I do see students out there, former students who are very kind and grateful for the classical experience. We have a very strong alumni association.
I was gonna say that,
So
yes.
that network I attend, I'm doing tours of the building for 2 or 3 classes, reunions. So we really stay closely connected with a lot of the students who have graduated, and it's incredible the success. But what's more, impressive is they're very successful. Some are doctors and mayors and surgeons and lawyers. But what's very impressive is the kindness that hopefully we had a little piece of to make sure that, because kindness and grace and humility and forgiveness is really a part of our school, and they seem to carry that along the continuum of their careers. So it's really cool to just sit and talk, and I spend a lot of time with they all have families and they travel the world. Cancer research, I can go on and on forever, but I'm proud of the school and what we've done. And, high school is a small piece, or it could be a big piece, of an entire lifetime. Yes. And I just hope we make I want folks to have a positive experience at classical while they're there.
And I think as educational leaders, that is our goal, to make sure that we prepare our students and give them the tools to be critical thinkers, problem solvers of the futures, of problems and issues that we don't even know they're going to be existing, but we need to make sure that we prepare our students, prepare them for life, right?
Right.
And that goes back to the many hats that we wear, because once again, as educational leaders, we have to make sure that we're there for the educators, but also giving them the power and the tools to transfer that into the students, to make sure that they have the power and the tools to move on and continue doing the great things in our society. So, I want to say thank you both for taking time out and coming and sharing a little bit glimpse of your life at school as principals. And to all the principals out there, I want to say once again, thank you. I appreciate you. We hear, we see, and we're willing to work with whoever we can. So once again, thank you for joining
Yes.
Beyond the Bell with Dr. Javier Montañez, Superintendent of the Providence Public Schools. Thank you and take care.